But as someone who was playing on a GTX 1650, I was very disappointed that From Software did not have image scaling in the base game this entire time. Welcome back to the channel. You are rocking with Agent R, and I am so excited to finally be in the position to play Elden Ring proper. Now, I tried to get started, I think sometime last year, but once I was out in the open field running off of the GTX 1650, I didn't want to play the game with minimal settings, essentially, right? Because the FPS would tank, and the game already has built-in latency with the attacks, so that was not ideal. So I have just upgraded, so check out that video to see that build. Now here we are, and the DLC Shadow of the Erdtree is releasing. So if you want to check out the first full playthrough here on the channel, go ahead and check out the description for the link over to the Twitch. I also will have that going on Kick as well. So here we are, and they have finally released some of the PC specs. So let's go ahead and take a look at what has changed, if anything has changed, and we'll look at the requirements and the recommendations for the base game also, because I think they have a few changes coming, and let's get started. They did slightly bump things up a little bit with the recommended settings. It's not like a leap by any stretch of the imagination there. 8400 or the 8700K. This game really isn't all that demanding, either on the CPU or the GPU side on here. With the AMD Ryzen, there's the 3600 and the 3300Xs. You're pretty much in the same ballpark with that, so you're good to go there. They did bump up the memory just a smidge from an already low 12 gigabytes of RAM to 16 as the recommendation. This is talking about the system RAM itself. For the GPU, they did significantly jump for the NVIDIA side of things for the recommendation. So it has me very curious. They did that across the board, to be honest. For like the minimum specs, they're saying that the 3 gigabytes will be enough for the 1060. The RX 580 is at 4 gigs, and the ARC is an A380. I didn't even know that was 6 gigs. I thought it was less. Anyway, so those will be the minimum, and to be quite honest, the game, it looks horrible when you're on minimum settings. But if you really gotta go there, you do. How do I know that? Is because, well, the 1650 had 4 gigabytes, and so if you wanted the experience of playing on the PC, and by that I mean playing at 60 frames a second, then you're gonna have to drop the settings for the graphics to make that happen. And that honestly changes a lot of the landscape, like the amount of grass that's out there, that kind of stuff. And where they want you to be at is 8 gigs, which I think is fair. If you're going to actually push anything to see more of the artistic like vision that the game has, I believe it hovers around like 6 gigs. So you definitely don't need more than that. And they threw in the Intel Arc cards. Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty much the same. Like as you can see here for the base game. That's kind of funny because they say here's what you need for the base game, and that's for the things that they have updated, and they're not here for this. So I don't know, like maybe that's telling you for the DLC, like not just the DLC, but for the update that they're about to release, that you need that. This is interesting how they put that. So they're effectively saying that they're adding 20 gigabytes of content to the game. Wow. All right, I'm down for it. So make sure you're cleared out for at least the 80 gigs. Now, wait a minute. Yeah, that should be for the original game. And if we go back, Yeah, the PC version has been released. So now they're saying you need 80 gigs or more. All right, cool. Yeah, and so now, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So these are the current specs, and they have made sure to, I guess, optimize for Intel's graphics cards as well. Like, oh, I'm so excited about this content. Not because I'm where I need to be to get into the DLC content itself, but because when I play now, there's that much more to sink into and look forward to once I get to those points, whenever, because I don't plan on trying to speed run the game or anything like that. I'm just gonna play it how I normally would come across it. But I'm so excited to get to watch what other people end up doing in the game. Now, there is some information that they have for updating the game itself, not just the DLC. So let's take a look at that, because there are some things that I'm hoping that they have made changes to, quality of life stuff, now that it's been 2 years, or things that honestly I think should have been there even in 2022. Oh, so the play times will be a bit different. Okay, so consoles, they can start playing at midnight, but Steam users will not be able to play until 7 a.m. Wow. So PC players have to hold that for 7 hours while console players get to play first. I wonder what kind of logic setup is that? Why does the Xbox and the PlayStation get started 7 hours before? If you're trying to release your content, you want to get there first. If you don't have it already and you have a console, I want to go ahead and pick up a copy on that side and start playing. That's different, at least to me. It says that PS4 and PS5 will be able to pre-download starting on the 19th. Xbox One, Series XS, and Steam will be able to download game data from the start date in time of play. Wow. Okay, well, I mean, there's PlayStation exclusivity at its finest right there. They get the advantage of getting the pre-download also. I'm hoping that the Microsoft stuff and Steam holds up at that time, and that the servers just don't crash from everybody trying to get that content at the same time. Sheesh. Here we go. There will also be updates to the Elden Ring base game and the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. During the following hours, we plan to perform server maintenance and deliver update files. So 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. they'll be doing updates. The end time is subject to change without notice. Online gameplay will not be possible. Okay, so anyway, during that time period, you won't be able to do anything if you're doing PvP or if you're like relying on messages and stuff like that. The update for the base game includes bug fixes, balance changes, and the addition of several features. Here are some of them. Key additions: add a hairstyle. Add 5 hairstyles that can be used for character creation and makeup. Okay. Sign pool enhancements. So add the following features to the sign pool. Added a function that the released sign pool is carried over to the lap play. This is being translated by the browser, by the way. Added a function that allows you to individually set the enable disable of the sign pool from the list of sign pools in the newly added map function menu and select the destination of the signature. Inventory enhancements. So now they add an exclamation point to the first item you get. Added a dedicated tab for recently acquired. We are also planning to add several other features after the latest update file is distributed. Please apply the update file and enjoy it. Thank you very much. Okay, so there is a little bit of hope based off of this. I'm not gonna go off of, what anybody may be speculating necessarily that should be in there, but here's where I'm at. The hairstyles, I mean, unless they're putting an afro in there or something of the sort, that is irrelevant. Okay. what the quality of life updates should be the most important here. So I do like that there are some bug fixes going on and some balance changes, so they can try to mix this up for, especially for the players, of course, that have been playing for the past 2 years. But as someone who was playing on a GTX 1650, I was very disappointed that From Software did not have image scaling in the base game this entire time. No XCSS, obviously, no FSR, and no DLSS. And that was in 2022. Here we are in 2024. It's still not in the game. So I'm needing this game. I'm needing From Software to step up and put the image scaling in the game. Why? Because as of right now, I'm using a mod to do that, and the mod prevents you from online play. So I'm looking for visual clarity while getting more than the 60 FPS and using the widescreen fix application to essentially remove the FPS lock. With all of that, I can't play the game how I want to play it and be online getting that full experience at the same time. And it just stems from the fact that those settings should have been in the game from the beginning. That technology was already available, and it was already at a point where it's implemented in games. So here's what I would want. I want image scaling. I would love to see DLSS in there. The reason that I would love that the most is because some of the visual mods that you can do, like for instance, adding textures, that 4K res, that sort of thing, it will bring down the FPS just a little bit, and being able to use DLSS, something like that, can give you some of that back as you're already working with high res assets. And then you can have that AI scale that back up and still be enjoying the game, but get like a clarity that does not exist with the base game. That's what I'm hoping for with that, but I am prepared to just play offline. And so I'll be sending out something very soon here when I get started on that. So please come through, hang out, and I will be asking for help at some point, I assure you. So bring your wisdom with you. It is going to be a glorious week for us all. Until next time, this has been Agent R. As always, prove your meta.